Hello, welcome to Broadway and Other Kiwi Dreams, a podcast exploring the lives and minds of theatre practitioners in and around the New Zealand performing arts industry. I'm your host, James Shera. Today I am joined by improviser, performer and creator, Trubie-Dylan Smith. As a shy child, Trubie didn't start performing until high school, when he started to open up and embrace his outgoing side. Since then, he has established himself as one of the top improvisers in New Zealand, even being named one of the top performers at the World Festival of Community Theatre in Florida. Listen in to hear how a degree in linguistics can propel you into a career in improv. We get the story behind the Dunedin improv group Improsaurus, and of course, we learn a few tips and tricks about improvisation from the experienced performer that is Trubie-Dylan Smith. So, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, enjoy a conversation with Trubie on Broadway and Other Kiwi Dreams. Kia ora, Trubie.
Kia ora, James. How's it going?
I'm good, how are you?
Yeah, good. I like how we're now pretending we haven't been talking for the past 20 minutes leading up to this.
Literally 16 minutes and 35 seconds I've got. But no. We've just connected and we're just now starting to talk, yeah.
Yeah, love it. Hi, welcome to my room.
Thank you. You've got very nice tie-dye curtains.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, they came with the house.
Oh, so you didn't pick them?
No.
The orange, brown tie-dye?
Yeah, it is my favorite color though, so.
Nice. That was one of my questions, so thanks for that.
Oh, great. Sweet. Tick. Number one done.
We're on a roll.
We're blasting through this.
So how's it going? How has the coronavirus been for you?
Oh, yeah.
Have you died yet? That's probably insensitive.
Well, you're lucky, James, because I'm not dead and no one that I know has died of coronavirus. So Great. It was a risky joke, but
it landed.
It landed. Yeah. My gosh. Good. It's good.
Great.
It's surprisingly good. Obviously, I had a year planned. Well, maybe that's not obvious. Just to let you know,
I didn't expect you to have a year planned, so it's good that you did.
Yeah. So yes, so I had my year planned out. I was, nicely booked up until the end of January, and that all changed when the Fire Nation attacked. I'm kidding. That all changed when COVID attacked. So obviously that changed my year. So I went from having a lot of work to do. I was, at that time, working on Lysander's Auntie at the Court Theatre. We were in the midst of that. We were in our tech week, and then the whole thing was called down. And in 48 hours, all of New Zealand was to be quarantining at their own homes. So that was quite a pivot. And that was good, fun, busy work. And then to suddenly drop into lockdown was jarring. Not only creatives, but I think most everyone had to get acquainted or get comfortable with not doing a heck of a lot at home.
Yeah.
That was, for me, mostly fine. That is largely what my life looks like between gigs anyway. It's me sitting on the couch, not wearing as many clothes, basking in the sun, doing some gardening, petting animals.
Sounds great.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So that's usually me between gigs anyway. But obviously with the added proviso of you can't hang out with your friends. Yeah, I started to feel less and less creative during that time because I didn't want to challenge myself to get anything achieved during that time. From day one, I decided that I wasn't going to.
Yeah, made a decisive move.
Yeah, exactly. Because I predicted, I was like, I know that I'm going to get halfway through an endeavor like that and then give up. So I'm going to stop.
So give up now.
At the start. Yeah, exactly. But creatively, that did become very difficult. Like the third and fourth week of lockdown was quite hard. And that threw something into perspective really nicely, was that because I was being supported by the government, I was making the same money. I was being given the same money that I would have received if I was doing a show.
Yeah.
But this time I was just at home because that was the kind of support that our government was giving us. That was amazing.
Yeah.
I was getting the same compensation to sit at home, and I was like terribly, terribly unsatisfied and unfulfilled. And that kind of threw in perspective. It's like, oh, that's why I do my work. It's because it's what fulfills me the most, that I need that creative fulfillment. I don't think many of us do this for the money.
No.
But it was just nice to have that sort of like, bit of science.
Yeah.
A trial.
Yeah. And literally what you said, like, if you were in it for the money, you would just not do it and get the government's money, right? Yeah, which is, I had that chance, I did that experiment, and it turns out, no, you need something more than that compensation. And for me, it's the fulfillment that comes with telling stories and entertaining people. And bonus, you can get paid.
Exactly. And yeah, that funds the rest of my lifestyle, which is video games, petting animals. Not wearing many clothes.
Call back.
Hey-oh. Gosh, that's a reference that we made in the start. I think we're done here.
Yeah, that's how improv works. Yeah. You kind of wrap it up,
full circle. Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, nice.
Speaking of theatre,
yes,
the first question I ask people, and this may be different for you because you're mostly an improviser.
Yes.
But you have done these things, is what is your favourite musical?
Oh, yeah. I did think about that, how I think I might be different to a lot of the people that you've interviewed.
You think you might be different?
I mean, I think we're all different. I think we're all varied and beautiful. But I can easily identify a point of difference between me and other guests that you've had on this podcast. I'm not trained at all in musical theatre. And I think most of your other guests have been. Just kind of looking over that.
I think so.
Yeah. But I loved musicals. I do love musicals still. I used to blast Chicago around the house, like growing up. Oh my goodness. I just remembered. So my first exposure to musicals was when there was a radio competition. I was like 4 or 5, and I had a cat called Ginger, and I loved that cat.
Was it a ginger cat?
It was a ginger cat.
That makes sense.
And my mum hates ginger cats, and our first cat was a ginger cat. I don't know how we arrived in that scenario.
Not only that, but it was named Ginger as well.
And it was named Ginger. So this living nightmare is strutting around our house.
Yeah.
But it was my mother's own doing, so don't have any sympathy for her. I loved that cat. And so there was a radio competition on, and you had to call into the radio station and tell them about your cat. And my mum did this on my behalf, and she won 2 things for doing that. She won a cat food dispenser or cat biscuit dispenser that a cat can activate by like pouring at a lever, and then cat biscuits fall out. Prize number 1, that was for Ginger. Prize number 2 was a soundtrack to Cats.
Great.
And so I won this in like 1995. So I'm sure there are members of the audience who can work out what recording that is of Cats. London cast? I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know those details. Sure, great. And so that was the first musical that I was exposed to. I played that disc every single freaking day. I could sing to you right now all of Cats.
And if you don't want to listen to that, then cut to 3 hours into the recording.
Yes, great.
3 hours later.
Okay, I've just performed all the Cats. That was wonderful. We laughed, we cried.
Yeah, if you want to hear that, please support us on Patreon and it'll be there.
Great. I will do a one-man version of Cats. Once we have kickstarted $10,000, I will do that. So yeah, Cats was the first musical, very close to my heart. My favourite musical is Jesus Christ Superstar. I love that. Like, as you can probably tell by now, I'm pretty basic when it comes to musicals. I don't travel far and wide.
Yeah, pretty much solely Andrew Lloyd Webber so far is what I'm hearing.
Yes. Exactly. I have a type, and it's him. I love him. No, I don't mind him. I actually don't know if I love him. Yes, Jesus Christ Superstar. I love that. Oh my God. It's like the ultimate crisis. High stakes, high drama. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Jesus knows that he's going to die. He wants to know if it's all going to be worth it or not. Like, what's it for? Oh my God. I love that musical so much. Yeah, high stakes.
Very high stakes. Almost the most high stakes story of the last 2,000 years.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. I'll give you that. My favorite recording is that is that one. Is it the 1960s recording of it where it happens in like a quarry? Like there's like scaffolding and there's men in like hard hats and purple tank tops. It is the strangest, stupidest campus thing aesthetic that I've seen. That is the best filming of Jesus Christ Superstar. It is so good.
On that note, we have a listener question, and I was going to put it at the end, but I'll put it right now.
Sure.
It is from @FinroyNZ. I'm not sure if you know him. Yes? Cool.
Yes, I do know Finn.
He says, why do you love the colour purple so much? And my question is it because those men wore purple tank tops?
Look, they might have had more impact on me growing up than I realised. That could be it. Gosh.
And I do assume he means the colour and not the musical. The colour purple.
Not the musical. Oh, like, why do you like the colour purple so much?
Yes.
Yeah, no. No, I haven't had many, if any, conversations about that musical with Finn, so I presume he means the colour itself. Gosh, he's really invited some introspection here. I don't know. I remember telling my mum my favourite colour was purple, and she was like, no, it's not, it's blue. And
yeah, I know your favourite colour, you do not.
Yeah, I know. The nerve. Oh my God. All of these stories will probably come back to my mother.
As they should.
Exactly. She's a fabulous woman and very worthy of every story that I tell about her.
Yeah. And that's the answer to that question?
Yeah, great. Good. I hope you're satisfied. Most of all you, Finn.
Yes. Speaking of your mother, tell me about your childhood in terms of performing.
Yeah, sure. I was exceedingly shy.
As everyone can tell from this interview.
Exactly. Yeah. I really did a pivot in high school.
Yeah.
But yes, I was very shy. So I don't have a lot. I did play a rat as a 5-year-old in the Pied Piper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at Southbrook School. So I'm Canterbury boy, born and raised. I played a rat and then I played the recorder. And I can still play the tune that they got me to learn on the recorder.
And if you don't want to hear that, cut to...
Cut to hour 6. Yeah, in retrospect, I don't know why the rats are playing recorders. Because
yeah, shouldn't it have been the Pied Piper?
Exactly. They don't do that. They follow the Pied Piper, who's playing, and then they fall off a cliff. Yeah, so not a heck of a lot in my childhood. It was when I hit high school that I was like, hey, I'm going to pipe up. Mm-hmm. I'm going to use my voice. I'm going to strut my stuff. I am a beautiful creature.
And how did that manifest?
That's where I started improv.
Great.
And theatre sports was at Rangiora High School with Miss Hemiona.
Mm-hmm.
And she helped me and a few other of my friends that I made at the start of high school start up the school theatre sports club, which previously wasn't really a thing. And so we started that from the ground up, and then that's how we started competing in the inter-school theatre sports competitions hosted by the Court Theatre.
Great.
Which would become an important institution in my life.
Yes, and in many people's lives.
In many people's lives, indeed. Let the viewers know that I'm looking at you, James.
Not that you haven't been looking at me the whole time, but yes. Pointedly exactly. Looking at me, yes.
You were in Jesus Christ Superstar, hey?
I was indeed. I played a character called James the Elder.
James the Elder. Right. How much of you feels typecast in that scenario?
I think I chose the character myself, to be honest. Like
You're allowed to do that?
Well, Stephen was like, because it's just like the 12 apostles. And Stephen was like, work out who you are. And I was like, I guess I'm James.
Oh my gosh.
One of the Jameses, one of the 2 Jameses.
Oh my gosh, I've never been asked what role I wanted to play, least of all by Stephen. Oh my gosh.
I guess he just didn't care enough about the apostles to cast them.
I guess.
I mean, there are 12 of them. It's hard to cast.
I know, and there's only a few that you really care about.
Exactly. Peter, John, James.
James.
Actually, James is in there, so...
Yeah, he's named.
He is
Don't know the
named.
names of any other ones other than Judas is an apostle, right? Yeah.
Sure.
Right? Yeah, okay. Cool.
Thank you for listening
I
to our
can't
Jesus Christ Superstar podcast.
I'm on board with that.
Yeah. So high school, what about language? Because you studied language at university. So where did that
Yes.
passion come from?
My mother taught me how to count in quite a few different languages,
Mm-hmm.
like when I was super young. And she chose like 10 different languages, which is interesting. My mother herself only speaks one language.
Great.
So I don't know where this compulsion came from. I don't know where the knowledge came from.
Yeah.
I was born in 1990. She didn't have the internet, so I don't know how she did it.
She just bought all those books, all those little learner language books.
Exactly. She bought 10 different how to for dummies.
Yeah.
Passed them and then taught me how to count to 10 in all of those languages. So yeah, I guess it started there. I don't know. I think I've always had like a kind of linguistic brain. I'm really into words and I really like words, and that actually does help me a bit with script reading and learning. In lyrics, I can hang on to lyrics of songs pretty well. Yeah, I've always been language brained, and then also at high school you have to study a language, and then I studied Japanese for like the entirety of high school, and then at university.
So the rest of this interview will be conducted in Japanese.
Hi, wakata. You speak some, hey?
Watashi wa James desu.
Perfect, great. Great, perfect Japanese. Also very polite, wonderful.
Thank you.
I forgot what the question was. Did I answer it?
You smashed it.
Okay, thank you.
As I mentioned, you studied language and linguistics at Otago University.
Oh, yes.
What was the thing that actually pushed you to go into that? Was it always something that you were going to pursue?
Oh, I think of it more as like a hobby degree. I went to university because all my friends were going to university.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm very comfortable in institution. So, I rolled from like primary school into high school, and then I don't know what I would have done after high school if I hadn't gone to university. That would have just baffled me. And so I think university just seemed logical. It's like, yeah, this is the next step. So I went to university and I was like, I guess I actually studied a range of things. So I did like law, and languages and linguistics, and then and theatre, and so I went all around the place. I studied like 5 different languages by the end of my tertiary education.
Did you study improv?
Yes.
Yeah.
152, 151, theatre 151.
Great.
One of those. The University of Otago has a really good theatre department. There's some really wonderful lecturers there. I didn't actually stick with the theatre department, but in just pursuing theatre outside of my studies, I always bumped into them, and I was always learning from them that way.
Yeah.
I started a theatre company down south, specifically an improv theatre company. It wasn't just me that initiated that, but I kind of fell into the role of like creative director of that company. That company ended up working a lot with different lecturers of the theatre department.
Sure.
We kind of became like, I don't know, a way for people to get time on stage, which is so important for
definitely
for young performers and people who are looking at getting into this industry. It's just time on stage.
Yeah. On the university section for a second more, we have another listener question from Erica Brown, who we both know.
Yes.
Shout out to Erica.
Hi, Erica. Yeah, big shout out. Erica and I have gone on a similar journey. She's my girl from down south. We were both at the Fortune Theatre. I mean, that's where Improsaurus, that improv theatre company, that was like its home theatre. And Erica was working at the Fortune Theatre. And so that's where we got to know each other. And now we're both up here in Christchurch again and working at the Court Theatre. So yeah, big love to Erica.
Big love to Erica. Her question is, how do you think your degree influences or informs your career?
Sometimes I don't think it does that. And specifically like the contents of my degree, I don't know, it lets me mine the actual semantic meaning of words on a page. Sometimes that's useful.
Yeah,
I think. just having a foundation in linguistics and phonology and second language acquisition and all those wonderful things means that I can pretty much look at most words from most origins and know what they mean and like how to pronounce them. So a little bit of stuff like that. But I mean, you don't often look at a script and I don't know, it's written in Latin. Or
Yeah. And I feel like just regardless of what you learn in a tertiary situation, especially straight out of high school, it really allows you to find yourself and what you actually want to do with your life.
Yeah. The most valuable thing I got from university was who it put me in touch with, because through the university is how I did the student review show, the Capping Show, which is huge, down in the University of Otago. And they put me in touch with so many people that I worked with and still work with for such a long time. Some of my best friends and contacts and co-creators I met at Otago University. I still create with those people today. That by far is the most valuable thing that I can point to.
Totally. Jumping back into the theatre, as we all hope to do very soon.
Yes, as I will be tonight.
Great. My question is, what is your dream role to play?
So I love villains. I love instigators. I love like merrymakers, mayhem makers. I look at characters like Clopin from like Hunchback of Notre Dame, for instance. Mwah. I had this conversation very recently with Kira, who actually was, I think, a wee while ago has been on this podcast as well.
She was my first guest.
Great. I was having this conversation with her. And similarly, these are all going to be Disney references now. Similarly, Zazu, Lion King. Mwah. Love me an advisor character. And Genie as well. You know, I really like playing and adding to the color of a world and really like helping to make that magic. And those characters, I know, because, you know, the hero has always got other important work to do. You know, they've got the boring work to do of like carrying the heart of the show. Yeah. And
they've got all the responsibility.
Exactly. I'm really interested in the characters that that color the world or that like really like instigate or, you know, really cause trouble. And then going back to Jesus Christ Superstar, I think Pilot is such a cool role.
Speaking of counting in different languages. Counting to 39 every night.
Yeah. I wonder, does that ever go wrong? Like, I mean, how many times? Because who played that? It was James Hart.
James Foster, yeah.
Yeah. I should ask him. But like, how many times do you get to that part?
And forget how to count?
Yeah. You know, the most basic of things. And then how many times do you think it went through his head like, am I going to screw up numbers?
I feel like that would happen every night, like forgetting what number you just said and being like, did I just say the right number? Like, did I just skip 20?
Did it ever happen? Were you paying attention?
It didn't happen to my knowledge, I don't think. Okay. But I may not have been paying attention, no. We were thrashing around the side, like taking robes off and...
Oh, yeah. Like undulating or...
Yeah. And laughing maniacally.
Oh, great. Oh, yeah. Great scene. Yeah. Oh, poor Jesus is
being whipped.
He's being brutally whipped.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
What a lovely musical.
It is such a lovely musical. It really isn't very cheery at any point.
No, not really. Again, thank you for coming to our Jesus Christ Superstar podcast.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Along the same line of the previous question, but on the flip side, what is your dream miscast role? So a role that you definitely wouldn't be cast as, but would love to play.
Ooh, this one? Hard. You did give me this question in advance, and I didn't settle on an answer for this one.
Is it Mary Magdalene?
Oddly enough, I don't think she's the biggest miscast. Like,
true. I'm sure it's been done. In fact, it definitely has been done.
Yeah. I'm not sure it's actually that radical, I guess. Yeah. I guess I just see myself as just so versatile that it's hard to imagine a role that I can't play.
Nothing is miscast.
Yeah. the first thing that I think of when I think miscast is like gender swap or gender fit, but it hardly feels like, like a challenge or a limitation.
Yeah.
I don't think that's why a role should be difficult.
No, definitely not.
Oh, James, I'm coming up short on this one.
That's fine. If you think of one, we can circle back.
If I think of one, I will scream it out at some point during this interview.
Great. Jumping to your career.
Long and storied as it is.
Yes. You mentioned Improsaurus.
Yeah.
Which was the improv theatre company that you started in Dunedin and were the creative director of. And you guys went to Florida in 2014.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, look at you. Yeah, you investigative journalist. Yes, you did. Oh my gosh, who told you?
The internet told me.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Scandalous.
I know.
So that was for the American Association of Community Theatre World Festival.
Oh yeah.
I
can't remember how many companies there were in total, maybe between 30 and 40. Oh, that could be. I don't know how correct that number is.
I don't have that information, unfortunately.
Oh, well. But there were that was an amazing festival. There were people from all over. So there was a Chinese opera company. There were a few local, like American acts. There was a troupe down from Canada. There was one from Argentina. A puppetry company from Armenia, which were incredible. Oh my gosh. I'm starting to remember these performances now, and they were amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, you always feel like little wee New Zealand when you go to something like this. But yeah, there was us doing improv.
However, being from little wee New Zealand, you did get the Outstanding Performer Award.
Oh, I did. Yeah. Yes, I did. Oh my gosh, you really did your research. I don't tell anyone that. Yeah, I did.
Sorry to out you.
Oh, please do. Yeah, I did. It was very flattering. There were a lot of really, really wonderful performers there and very funny. Yes. Oh my goodness, you've utterly embarrassed me. What a wonderful time. You just completely you bamboozled me. One mention of that and now I'm undone.
Great. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
So that was in 2014. I actually made the choice to stay when everyone, so the 5 of us went over and 4 people, actually 2 of us stayed. I actually, before I went over to the US, decided to get my visa for Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the rest of the trip went back, I stayed and then shot up to Toronto and was there for a year doing improv. My original intention was to sign up with Second City, which is an improv school. They started in the US. I think their first one was in Chicago. But yeah, they've got a Toronto school. And I was going to study with them, but there was something about the timing of it and the point at which I would have to enter the course that I don't know. I studied the foundations of improv a lot. Not that I think you ever master those core principles, but that's not how I wanted to spend my year in Canada. Yeah. And so I ended up just performing on like a more sort of like underground-ish circuit in Toronto. There was a great theatre space there, Bad Dog Theatre. Yeah, I did a lot there, dropping workshops and shows. And that was how I ended up doing my improv while I was in Canada.
Was it a good experience?
Yeah, it was great. I saw some really, really wonderful improv, like some of the best I've seen. S&P, which is Standards and Practices. For any improv buffs out there. So I saw them before. The Sufferettes. Just amazing improv. They really kind of blew my mind with what you can do with improv. I remember just thinking, wow, these people are entirely in each other's heads and they were communicating, just communicating without speaking, It was something otherworldly, it looked like at that time in my life. And then I think since then, I've had experiences on stage where I felt something similar.
Did you bring some of those lessons that you learned back into what you do?
Maybe. I couldn't tell you specifically like what techniques. I'm not sure I could identify what specifically I learned, but certainly like looking at the caliber of like improvisers and performance that I saw definitely like put the drive and the fire into me to be like, oh right, this can be incredible. So let's aim for that.
And to pass that on, it seems, in your improv coaching life.
Yeah, because I've coached improv since I was like 20, like when I started university, just because I'd been taught so much by the court jesters all throughout my high school years, and I really tried to learn as much from them as I possibly could, and I did learn so much from them. They're wonderful teachers, and it's a great institution which I'm now a part of. I am a court jester now. I learned so much from them, but that by the time that I got to university, I signed up for the theatre sports club, and then I realized there was a lot that I could actually teach to people there. I was like, oh, actually, arriving at university, it's like I was ready to be surrounded by experts, but I realized I brought my own value and my own expertise. And then, I've been coaching since then.
What's the first kind of thing that you learn when they first come into improv? Like, what's the first thing that you say?
Oh my gosh. What's the first thing that I'm putting myself in that scenario? Students are coming in the door. It can be the hardest thing, but you just want them to breathe a little easier. I think people come in with so many expectations of themselves when they come into the room to learn improv. Like they are just so overburdened with expectations of either how to be funny is usually one of them. It's not that's not universal, but because I think when you see improv on stage, the result is often comedic. That isn't what you're aiming for. You're not trying to produce comedy. You're trying to tell a story.
Almost the comedy comes from the fact that it is improv and the audience knows that you are making it up on the spot. So even if it's not funny, it becomes funny because of that.
Yeah, absolutely. When people come along to an improv show, they're ready to laugh.
Yeah.
Like you generally don't get any other products unless you're on a really developed like improv scene. You expect improv to be comedy and you expect to have a good time. And just there's something inherently funny because by doing improv, you're a lot more prone to mistakes and there being like errors in communication, say.
Yeah.
Those are usually pretty funny.
Yeah.
Those moments.
Yeah.
And so, it lends itself to comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Improv needn't be funny. And certainly students, when they're starting, they needn't be funny either. Yeah. I would just love for them all to just let that go. Just like breathe it out and just watch it melt away. You need to be able to make mistakes when you come into that room. Totally. So that's what I most want.
Speaking of mistakes, there's a quote that I found from you from 2014 Florida in an article.
Oh my gosh.
When you were running an improv workshop.
What'd they say? Oh my god, what bullshit is this?
It's basically what you just said, but more eloquent maybe. It is, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. I want to stress that is totally fine. In fact, I encourage you to make mistakes. Dare to suck.
Oh yeah. Oh, and I loved saying that for a while.
Yeah.
Dare to suck.
Dare to suck. And I think it's pretty like oxymoronic in a way. Like, to be good at improv, you have to suck at improv.
Yeah. Well, you have to be comfortable with
sucking at improv. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes you are just gonna fucking whoopsie, swear word, naughty.
It's fine. We've got the little E on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
For erotic.
Yes, exactly.
Great. Yeah, because hopefully you're going to do improv so much that some of it's just going to be crap. Well, not crap, but like weird. At its best, like improv is hilarious and it makes you think anything's possible. And then, at the other end is just like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah. Which is fine.
Yeah.
And it's
absolutely.
Almost pretty fun in itself.
Yeah, exactly. So dare to suck, because no scene that you do should feel like it's so important. And that's why I say having time on stage. This is true of improv, but I'm sure it's true of many things, especially performing on any stage. This is the important thing about hours on stage, just so that each individual scene or each individual performance stops feeling so important. I mean, it is important, but if too much is riding on it for you, then that's when the ego intrudes and you intrude on your own performance. And so just be comfortable with fucking it up.
Yeah.
Just let it go, and then the storytelling comes easier, I think.
I wondered if there is a moment in a piece of improv that you remember as being particularly memorable, or do you forget it all every time? I forget who said this, but I think a lot of prolific improvisers would rather, they encourage you to forget it. Don't frame it and put it on the wall. Just do it
then do the next one. Do the next one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Celebrate your achievements, that you were a generous player. But in saying that, there's still moments that I, that I hang on to, just like, oh yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
I just produced like an improv show very recently called Kiss My Ask For.
Mm-hmm.
That is a rotating guest spot and myself do a 2-hander 50-minute improv show. And I've had 3 fabulous guests on that so far, and I've loved each of them. Those are shows that I've loved. We did that at Little Andromeda, and hopefully be doing more when Little Andromeda opens up again in October. Fingers crossed. One of my really good improviser friends, Tara Swati, chief advisor to Ashley Bloomfield on the pandemic response as well, by the way.
Right.
She's extremely talented. She just sent me through. She was just rewatching some improv from the yesterdays, or yesteryears, and she found a moment that she thought was very funny. That I said, and I agreed with her. I thought I was very funny. It was a scene, and she's wearing a watch, and I say, as her father, I say, no, that was your mother's watch. Get that away from me. It reminds me of her face and her hands. Which, I made that up on the spot. You can all strive to one day achieve something similar.
Yes. You probably won't get to that caliber, but you can try.
I encourage you to try. And then every now and then, musical improv always feels like the most impressive. And like, I'm not musically trained, but I love musical improv.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've had some real banger songs. Recently, we did a show, Waiting in the Wings, which was a show that was comprised of a lot of shows that didn't happen because of COVID. One of the acts was me and Monique doing like a 2-hander musical improv set. And yeah, that felt great. I suppose I don't remember moments so much, but I remember people that I love improvising with. You just you're on stage and you're like, wow, this just clicks.
Yeah.
And you don't necessarily know it until you get on stage with them. But you realize then it's like, oh, wow, this is something. How do we bottle this? Yeah, so that's what I have, I guess. It takes the shape of people. There we go. We got to the answer eventually. It's not moments, but people.
People is what matters.
Yeah. I've been spoiled, I think. I've worked with many, many, many fabulous improvisers.
In terms of learning or not learning your script, how do you go about it? Do you sit down and dedicatedly learn the script, or do you read through it and kind of trust that you know it?
My method since I've been in high school is just to read it to the mirror. Like I just read my lines to a mirror all the time. Like, is how I don't know, that just helps me get it to stick. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I need to be in the room. Oh, I need to learn it in the room. And, I think there's some validity to that.
Yeah. Especially coming from an improv background, you can kind of find it.
Oh, exactly. But yeah, I do a lot of mirror reading, and then I leave some to the room for better or for worse.
Or to the first performance.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah. Yeah, if I'm really looking to destroy some relationships, then I'll do that one.
Yeah.
I'm usually pretty good. I actually don't like breaking rules.
Fair.
Or I don't like being the bad student.
Yeah.
I need everyone to know that I'm trying. And especially the teacher or director.
Yeah.
I need them to know that I'm trying my very best.
Yeah.
And that I take my work very seriously, even though I'm having fun.
We do have a question from... We do have 2 questions, actually, from Raylene.
Oh, my goodness. Raylene Helaga.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, my goodness. What smut is coming my way?
So the first question, she wants me to ask you why you're so goddamn precious. I love him.
I think that is both a question and an answer delivered in one. Raylene, let it be known that I love you very much as well.
Yes.
This is a 2-way thing. There's a lot of room in my heart for Raylene. I'll say that.
Definitely. Me as well.
Do you mean there's a lot of space for you in my heart? Because that is also true.
That is what I meant. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yes, excellent. Good. Let it be clear. I also love you.
Thank you.
You're also very precious.
Thanks. Second question from Raylene.
Yes.
Is also, I'm curious to know, who are some people that inspire you both in the performing arts and outside of it?
Oh, Yeah, I'm not sure what scope to answer this on, but I'll just say the first thing that came into my head. Like growing up, my two biggest inspirations, like within the industry, on TV, was Rowan Atkinson and Will Smith. And I think that's a pretty good, at that intersection, it's a pretty good summary of my style.
Yeah.
So I'm talking Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Mr. Bean.
Yeah.
Which, the more I examine that, the truer it feels.
Yeah.
My comedy is very physical. It can be very slapstick. It's very facial. And I think it's just because of how much I watched Fresh Prince and Mr. Bean. And then Blackadder. And then outside of performance, my mother, and not just because I love her, but she manages this kind of like bravery that I see from a lot of my co-creators. But she's a non-theatre. She hasn't done a lick of theatre in her life. She's got like an emotional bravery and honesty that I really admire. Yeah, she's very forthcoming with what she thinks. And, you know, and just her story in general is very inspiring. Like, she's a solo mum with, like, 2 kids, one of whom is me. I don't know. I just feel like so much was stacked against her. And then I look at myself and I don't know. I just feel like I've had, like, the best, most enchanted life. So, Mumsy. Big inspiration. Yeah. Soldier, nice. Battler, mother. Yeah. She's everything. Those are my biggest inspirations. Those are the obvious ones for me. Mum, Rowan Atkinson, Will Smith.
The 3 pillars of Trubie's life.
Yeah, that's right. Lock it in. I'm happy with that answer.
Before we wrap things up, we'll just quickly touch on what you've got coming up.
Sure.
So you have Cinderella, in which you're playing Daldini.
Yeah, I am.
Who is the prince's right-hand man,
yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yep. Cinderella coming up 15th of December is when we open at the Isaac Theatre. Super excited to get stuck into that. It's going to be a pantomime, and it's going to be a full-blown pantomime, and I'm really excited about starting the pantomime culture in Christchurch, because pantomime it's a huge culture. Yeah, Christchurch is unindoctrinated, I guess. So yeah, be great to see if we can start something, or what we can start.
Yeah. What else have you got coming up?
Well, regularly I perform at the Court Theatre in Scared Scriptless as a court jester. That includes tonight.
Great. This will not come out today, so that will be in the past.
No. So every Friday we perform Scared Scriptless at the Court Theatre at 10:15 p.m. So because it's on after whatever main stage show is playing. So get along to that. That is a rip snorting good time. I'll also be performing in the early late show, which is basically the kids' version of Scared Scriptless. So possibly even more absurd and silly is that one. Great for kids. They lose their minds.
Yeah.
And so do we.
Yeah.
And then other than that, don't have official dates, but I will, come hell or high water, will be restaging Kiss My Ask For at Little Andromeda towards the end of the year. And also, I don't have dates for it yet, but I also perform on Dungeons and Comedians at Little Andromeda Theatre, which we still haven't worked out the exact dates that is returning, but definitely something you should look at if you're a fan of comedy or Dungeons and Dragons or just general mayhem, mischief, and drinking while you watch a funny show. That is highly recommended as well.
Nice. Trubie's doing eyebrows into the mic.
Yeah, my eyebrows speak for me, really.
Too bad this is an audio forum, but...
I know. They're really missing out. Oh my goodness. They're quite thick, aren't they? I've got such big eyebrows. Can you see my scar?
I can. What's that for?
It's my Prince Zuko scar. It's over my left eye. This is a theatre injury. It was a post-theatre injury. We went to a writer's retreat for capping show for the Otago University. And we were playing Spotlight on a beach, and I ran like I was bolting down the beach, and it's pitch black, and I ran eyebrow first into another man, Logan Wilson. I gave him a huge lump in the middle of his forehead, and this I didn't get a lump, but I did get a black eye and this cut, and lost quite a bit of blood.
But you're alive.
Yeah, and I'm alive. Anyway, you were saying something. Sorry for interrupting.
Yes. So thank you for that extremely visual tidbit that no one will have gotten in the audio podcast that this is.
Yeah, great. Enjoy that.
So yeah, wrapping things up. This podcast is called Broadway and Other Kiwi Dreams, as you know, and that is based around performing as a career and having dreams to do that. My question is, what is your Kiwi dream?
My Kiwi dream. It's an interesting question because part of me feels like I'm living it right now, like believe it or not. Yeah, I expressed simply like I want to be a career performer and entertainer and improviser, storyteller, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what I'm doing right now. This still feels like a recent achievement. It feels like a recent milestone. I've been doing this for a couple of years now, but it's still it feels very new still. That felt like an insensible reality for so much of my life. But here I am. I still feel like I'm living the first iteration of my dream. From here, I want to be producing within this dream. I want to be producing and being in work that uses me for who I am, my specific experiences as a young queer kid in New Zealand.
Yeah.
But also all these skills that I've developed. So the next thing is more of the producing the shows. Because I feel like to really, the way that I want to succeed is by, I don't know, becoming a performer that's so unique, such a unique blend of skills that I'm the only one who can do what I can do. Yeah, I feel like I'm on that journey still. I've got so many things now that I bring as a performer, so that is already so unique, but I want to put more into that pot. It gets to the point where you have to make the shows that use that unique blend because you're not just going to happen upon those roles anymore. Yeah. Producing is what I think I have to do next within this dream. Yeah, making my show for me. And it feels good. It feels good, James. It feels real good.
Nice. That's all we can ask for.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I feel extremely lucky and fortunate. But I've got to say, I feel lucky and fortunate, but I've also got to acknowledge my own hard work.
There you go. Well, being that we have been going for almost 2 hours.
Oh, perfect.
We should probably wrap things up. Actually, no, we've been going for 6 hours, haven't we? Because of the cats and the recorder. Yeah. So
exactly.
Thank you.
I'm exhausted.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to 6 hours of a interview, and we will talk to you next time with probably a shorter one. All right. Well, thank you, Trubie, for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you to everyone for listening, and we will talk to you next time with another guest. Goodbye.
Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Very nice. Hi everyone, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed learning more about the improv world from a seasoned performer like Trubie. You can find Trubie on Instagram at Trubie.Dylan. Also, if you're in Christchurch in December, make sure to get your tickets to GMG's production of Cinderella. If you would like to follow the podcast, you can do so via my brand new social media handle at Kiwi Dreams Pod. That will work on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, so whichever one you use, I'll be there at Kiwi Dreams Pod. You can also find the podcast on my website, kiwidreamspodcast.com, or send me an email to hello@kiwidreamspodcast.com. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much again for listening, and I'll talk to you next time with another amazing guest on Broadway and Other Kiwi Dreams.
Gollum has an unhealthy obsession about some bit of jewelry.
Doesn't even know just what the precious is. Stupid therapist.
Cookie Monster's a bit of a stress eater.
Cookie.
And homicidal robots really just want their best friend back.
I know I did and said things that she regrets. But why is that my problem?
But what all these monsters really need is therapy. The podcast Therapy for Monsters finally puts monsters in the therapy chair with a real therapist. Me, Tim, your friendly neighbourhood therapist. If you'd like to learn a bit and laugh a bit, check out Therapy for Monsters on your favourite podcast app.
A That's Not Canon Productions podcast.